mau kemana fotografer?
Kita mau into the glacier.
Apa itu fotografer?
Nggak tahu, escape, ice cave. Is it?
It's an ice cave. It's a glacier tunnel.
Carl is here.
Sejuk, dingin.
Yeah, they said we are dressed for occasion.
Mobilnya udah jalan, kita mau ke Glacier.
Yeah, sorry. Canada.
Ada tour
Toronto,
guide-nya.
right? Yes, your family? Yeah.
Tenang jalan.
We call this truck the monster truck. Yeah.
Terlalu.
It's pretty big, right? It's a former military vehicle. It was used of NATO in the Cold War.
Kita
from
naik
Germany.
monster truck.
It's a former mobile rocket launcher, so to speak. Just removed the rocket and built this beautiful little box around you people, so we could have our excursion. So Longyearbyen Glacier is pretty big. It's roughly 900 square kilometers, and we are heading up. Our destination point is 1,260 meters above sea level, so we're going pretty high up, close to the glacier's top. At that spot, the glacier is 200 meters thick, but the thickest part of this glacier is 700 or 650 meters thick. So, do you know how to pronounce Longyearbyen? I'm gonna teach you to pronounce it. It's not that hard. Just repeat after me. Long. Jökull. Long. Jökull. Now I'm gonna say the whole thing and then you repeat. Longyearbyen. Okay. You're certified Icelanders now. Pretty good. So this is what we call a really good condition on glacier. But sometimes the driver sees absolutely nothing, and we just have to use GPS navigation system to navigate us up to the tunnel. Actually, last winter was extremely bad for us Icelanders. We had 72 storms.
Wow.
Yeah, and hit record when it came to accumulation on the glacier. On average, we had like 7 meters of accumulation, but this winter we had 10 meters of snow. So it was last January, and this truck, Ice One, was driving up to the ice tunnel, and we were actually just at the glacier's edge, and it was kind of stormy, but we had decided not to cancel the tour. So this truck was driving really slowly, and we had a complete whiteout. So absolutely nothing. And then suddenly the GPS navigation system stopped working.
Oh.
So in Iceland, over the winter months, we have almost no sunlight at all. You've maybe heard of it. So it was really dark, and my colleague, another tour guide, had to step outside the truck and put his torch lights on his forehead and guide the whole way up to the tunnel.
Wow.
Think about it. A few hours. Driving like 2 kilometers per hour, this truck.
Kita akan masuk ke dalam tunnel itu. Lihat, apa yang mau dilakuin sama si fotografer. Ah! No, not me!
the original plan for the tunnel was a perfect circle. You can see how well that worked out. But this also gives me my opportunity for my worst joke of the day. Look at the shape of it. Welcome to the heart of the glacier. Please come in and have a seat at the left. So these are called cramp-ons. They are your best friend inside of this glacier. You see this little loop at the end, this little thing? That goes around your heel, around the back of your foot. And the way it works, you put 2 fingers through the loop, you put the other hand on your toe, and you just pull.
Beautiful.
So guys, we're now at the base of the heart, the base of the circle. From here it's about 450 meter walk, and when they were digging the tunnel, this is where they really hit their stride. It took almost half a year to get to this point. Took about 6 months to get to this point. The rest of the way was only about 8 months. And that machine right there, the head of that drill, is one of the 2 that they actually use to do it. Before we keep going, you can hear the dripping around us. No, the tunnel is not melting around us. A lot of people ask us if bringing 100 people a day, 200, whatever it is helping melt the glacier. We are not hot enough to do it, I'm sorry to say. When they dug the tunnel, this was the first room they dug out. Today it's our multi-purpose main room. I've seen a rap concert in here. That was surreal. I've hosted a lot of parties in here, and I mean, guys, if anybody brought champagne, I have plenty of ice. Difference between a layer created in the winter and the summer. Do you see here, big and white? That is the winter. And then this layer right here, that's the summer. And you can count those layers the way you would rings on a tree. Some glaciers, like the one in Greenland, you can go 3,000 years back in time like that. Just 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now, if you people at the back, I'm going to shine the light back down when we start moving again so everyone can have a good look down here. But what's going on here? Liquid water. Langjökull, like every glacier in Iceland, is what they call a temperate glacier. That means the temperature inside of here is 0 degrees no matter what. Been in here in a blizzard, been in here in tropical weather for an Icelander, doesn't matter once you're inside the cave. But to freeze water, you actually need to bring it just a shade below 0. So liquid water going through the glacier needs to find a place to stop before the heat can bleed away. At any given time, about 1% of the glacier is actually liquid. Now, I have to be honest with you guys. We did dig this track right here, this aqueduct, from about here and there. But the reason we put it right here is this Mulan, which is what this is called, was already here. And the reason that's here is this is here. It's been a really big change. This, right where I'm shining the light, is the start of our big crevice. It goes on for another 400 meters that way. You're going to stand inside of it before we leave here today. Now, it is closing down, and there was a bit of a shift in it about 2 months ago, and all this water started dripping down there, but it used to come down right here, and actually quite a bit more of it. And that's what cut away the Mulan, probably. But what happens to all this water? I told you the oldest, I think I told you the oldest ice in the glacier is only about 600 years old. The glacier itself, 7,500 years old. The water and the ice will eventually make its way to the edge of the glacier and melt in the summer. So we can see about 3 meters down, but the water is flowing somewhere and we don't know where. It's very possible that there's almost like a aqueduct system under the tunnel because the tunnel gathers up a lot of the water that is coming through this place.
Yep.
So around this area is probably more water in the glacier than would otherwise be.
Correct.
So do you guys remember the sounds in the old chapel?
Yeah.
Yo!
Wow. That's awesome.
The floor in here is actually ice, so be a bit careful.
This is nice.
So
This is cool. Going?
ice.
Hello.
Nice. And careful right there, please. Big, because that pole is about 4 meters deep. Please have a seat. It's 4 meters deep.
Let's have a seat.
So the reason this is here. That's right, mate. That's right. Talk here. Because of a small engineering mistake, down there and down all the way there to the right, there are windows into the crevice. You can stick your head into it. Yeah, but that actually does, it is good to give you an idea of just how big it is. It's been here from day one. The most likely reason is that under here there's a particularly thick chunk of ice that's not letting the water through.
Oh dear.
And we are keeping it down, by the way. That sound you hear is a water pump. I came in here a few weeks ago when the pump broke. The water was above the bridge you're standing on. And the reindeer is new. Last week.
Yes, that's.
I think my boss is trying to get a sponsorship from Jaeger. But, alright, let's get a little bit dramatic. To make a glacier, you either need a whole lot of rain and snow in the winter, or very little melting in the summer. And every Icelandic glacier is the former. So they grow and they shrink. But for the last half a century or so, this glacier has been shrinking much faster than it is growing. Did you guys notice the red house on the left side when you were driving up here? That house was built on the edge of the glacier. You used to be able to step outside the door, take 2 steps, and you were on the glacier. That was in 1995. 22 years. And that is the pattern for every glacier in this country and every glacier on the planet. If the current trends continue, I'm trying to have a dramatic moment here. If the current trends continue, this glacier will be completely gone in 150 years. At which point we will be left with maybe 2 or 3 glaciers in this country out of 35 currently. Probably more if you count all the small ones.